In India, the lighting of the lamp signifies the beginning of good things. A lot of places we remember Lord Ganesha as we do it, and in a lot of other places we remember the power, goddess, Devi. This event is a women event, and I think the salutation goes to the Devi and to all the deities that we consider auspicious and our faith allows us to follow. So ladies and gentlemen, Simi and Payal are going to inaugurate this event this morning. Good things happen when a lot of women come together, and a lot of good things happen when one of the best designers of the country sets the lamp light. The event is officially announced as open. Here's to the Women Who Win community. Ladies, give it up. One lamp and the light in it can set 1,000 lamps alight. That is what the festival of Diwali is all about, and that is what the festival of entrepreneurship is all about, because a single woman can inspire a lot many. In our case, it is our founder, Ms. Simi Bhasin, who has ignited the power in a lot of women. I'm now going to invite Simi, before you settle down again, to welcome our guest and say a few words. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Simi Bhasin, founder of Women Who Win. She believes in the power of sisterhood and aims to connect, nurture, and empower women through the Women Who Win Foundation and community. Simi Bhasin, over to you, Simi.
Thank you, Abha. Thank you, everyone. Good morning to you all, and I welcome you all for this day. I thank everyone, especially our esteemed guests, that is our Payal Jain, our chief guest, who's taken out time to grace the occasion and be with us and celebrate womanhood today. This day is very important for us because I started 9 years back, and this is our 9th anniversary. And this started from Mumbai. That's how Women Who Win started. Today we complete 9 years, and I will brief about what we have done in these 9 years. I thank our guest of honors, Rachana Chowdhary, Barsha Chabaria, Richa Mehta, and all the attendees present here today. This year, if you've been seeing, our theme is, every year we pick up a theme. Our theme is Women Take the Lead. We have chosen this theme because in this evolving world, women are at the front of various endeavors and are leading the way. We have seen women take a leadership roles in politics, business, and entrepreneurship. Here are a few facts which I'm going to share, and this is very bookish, but I'm going to share the insight what I have seen in these 9 years. So total funding, when I was researching it, it was very, very insightful. Total funding in women-led startups in 2022 was approximately US $4 billion. That is 32,000 crores in 2022. Today, there are 11 startups with women-led founders and co-founders that currently have unicorn valuation, and out of this, 5 turned unicorns happened in 2022. So this is, since we come from the banking segment, we are, ex-bankers. So I have taken out this particular insight information, that is, among retail loans categories, the share of women borrowing is highest for gold and education loans, and least for vehicle loans, which clearly highlights that women are aiming towards creating value in future rather than investing on the depreciating assets. When women take lead, amazing things happen. They bring new perspectives and ideas to the table, and they prioritize issues that are overlooked by male leaders. Though there are few males present here, and I know that my husband is there. Women are often more collaborative and empathetic. Women Who Win is all about that. So I believe a lot that we are more collaborative and empathetic. And they are able to build stronger relationship with their colleagues and co-partners. Agree? So we know each other for 25 years, more than that. So ex-bankers, and now we are here together with Women Who Win. However, when women still face numerous obstacles, we all know that there are gender bias and then can make it difficult for women to be in various, whether you are in the corp. Despite these challenges, women are rising to the occasion and taking the lead. They are starting their own businesses. I can see all our entrepreneurs here. So they are homepreneurs, mainly in my community, who've taken the passionate journey of entrepreneurship after leaving the corporate world. So somehow I feel the essence of my group is they work and then they break, take sabbatical for whatever reasons, and then they join Women Who Win Foundation because we come with the same value system. Now I've taken some time and I'm going to talk about Women Who Win Foundation, what we have done in 9 years. We have been in forefront supporting homepreneurs and startups. In these 9 years, we have launched almost 60 startups. Today, 13 to 14 startups are going to walk the ramp. So I have built up this concept of be a brand of your dream. So so what they lack is branding. They come up with an idea, they execute it, but they don't know how to brand it. So this is what I'm building up a concept that you walk the ramp, showcase your brand. Don't think about exhibition or sales, just walk and own it. So you become your own brand. So whether you are from services or from products, you can walk the ramp. So today, in the second half, we are going to showcase 13 women walking the ramp, showcasing their brand. We also use in our events only women promotions. So whether it's gifting partners, or whether we are encouraging them, every product in your bag will be a women-owned business. And they are very, very passionate. They are handcrafted. Some are encouraging underprivileged. There are a lot of women who are dealing with underprivileged women and creating livelihood for them. So this is about our second initiative. I'll talk about Women Who Win initiatives. The first is the e-commerce site, which we have given for these women-owned businesses to showcase their products or services. The second initiative is the Corporate Connect. Since I come from the corporate world, I thought let me take them to the corporate world and showcase their products or services. So we have been connecting with the corporates to either display their products and also to connect them in their employee engagement. So we have been able to connect with MG Motor, PwC, WNS. These are the big corporates who are connected with us, and we are sending our women entrepreneurs there. We've also been into the CSR project with few corporates. MG Motor, we have done a very, very successful project where we have empowered women who are creating livelihood for underprivileged for more than 2,000 women under them. So we picked up women from Gujarat, Maharashtra, and we did the CSR activity with them. Every event of ours is designed and executed with women entrepreneurs, launching and supporting them. Today, as I said, we have more than 13 and 35 brands have been today supported. Now, these brands are most likely supporters. We are supporters of sustainability and aim to promote handmade, eco-friendly and sustainable products. So when we do an event, every name badge, every folder is seedable paper, used by seedable paper, so that you can carry and you can keep it with you. And if you want, you can also sew it and see the flowers coming out. So these are all little initiative. It takes lot of effort to get it made. And these are from home entrepreneurs. Again, lot of coordination, lot of work is required. So these particular today's folders are made by Shivani Soin. She's not there, I think. She had an emergency. As we celebrate International Women's Day, let us recommit ourselves to the cause of gender equality. Let us pledge to empower each one of us. That's what I say, that let's empower each one of us. Let's buy from each one of us. That is the crux, that let's help each other. That's how we can support each other. Let's make each one of us a winner. So that's why we call Women Who Win. In conclusion, women taking the lead is not just a nice idea. It's not just our theme. It's our necessity at this time. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
I remember the Women Who Win community started with the dream of one person, the founder of Women Who Win, Simi Basin. And yes, she's right. We go back. Simi and I go back almost 25 years together as colleagues in the corporate sector. And at that time, when she was nurturing this dream, it was difficult to believe that a community can be built out of a dream that she had thought of. But कहते हैं ना कि अकेले चले थे हम, लोग जुड़ते चले गए और काफिला बनता चला गया. ये रहा वो काफिला जिसका नाम है Women Who Win. To be a woman is to blossom in your own spring. Make your own path. Speak your own words. Fight on your own terms and be complete on your own. Our guest of honor, Ms. Payal Jain, personifies this and much, much more. Let us welcome Payal onto the stage and find out what has been her journey like when she started off a while ago. Things were not the same, but still she holds the rare distinction of creating a brand of her own. A brand called Payal Jain. The brand Payal Jain has arrived globally and internationally, and she holds the rare distinction of actually having seen celebrities like Priyanka Chopra, Victoria Beckham, and many, many more. I can't list them all. Adorn her designs. So, ladies and gentlemen, with the designer of stature of Payal Jain amongst our midst, let me call her on stage and let me ask her a few questions. Payal, we welcome you on stage. So I'm going to sit with Payal and I'm going to be walking and talking her journey through her lens for all of you. So I think I'm audible and...
Hello. Can you hear me? Okay. I do want to say thank you, Abha. Thank you, Simi. Thank you, Kavita. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure and it's a treat to see this room full of bright, shining women. And I'd love to hear all your stories, but... we'll start with these.
Yes.
It's going to be my 30th year in the business. This year, I'm starting my 30th year. So, at that time, fashion was unheard. Nobody spoke about it. Nobody thought of it. There was no such thing as fashion designers. At best, there were tailors. You'd take your fabric and they would make it for you. And I come from a family of professionals. My father was an engineer. His siblings are doctors, engineers. My mother's an artist, but again, highly educated family. And when I was growing up, there were very few options. So either if you were smart, so to say, and you had science in school, which was the smarter kids, then you either did engineering, you did medicine. If you couldn't do those two or you weren't interested, you'd do architecture. But it ended there. There was no such thing as liberal arts. There was no economics. These were things, they were subjects, but they were not things you follow. They were not career paths you followed. And I came from a family which had all of the above. And because my father was a consulting engineer, he designed buildings. So architecture was something that interested me. I started sketching when I was about 8 or 9 years old because my mother is an artist. She plays the sitar. She used to paint, she did sculpture, all of that. So I sort of grew up with that. And yeah, my roots are Old Delhi. So both my parents' homes are in Sadar Bazaar, Dipti-Ganj.
Right. Okay, yeah.
So I was sort of in and out of Old Delhi. So, and I'm very proud of that.
Yes,
I think,
actually, Delhi Che is a proud heritage to have.
Absolutely. Of course, I graduated, I worked my backside off because I had nothing else to do. I didn't know a soul in the city, so I just worked. Graduated, came back to India in 93. actually.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 30 years, yeah. And even in India then, there was no such thing as fashion designers. So my parents gave me a little bit of money, I remember, in that day, 20,000 rupees, and said, you can start a business, but we don't know anybody in this business, so you have to figure it out. So I found this little place in Hoskas village, which was the cheapest. It was, I think, 4,000 rupees was the rent.
Yeah.
All told, it was some 5.5 to pay my electricity, whatever.
But a lot of designers started in Hoskas,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that's the only place I could afford. I couldn't afford anything else. It was a tiny hole in the wall. And I went looking for the first few employees. Again, I didn't know where to buy machines, where to buy needles. Found one man looking for a job saying, I'm a sampling tailor. I said, I'll make the patterns, I'll do the cutting, can you stitch? He said, okay, if you do everything else, I will stitch. So I brought him home. That's how I hired the first few. Went to Chandni Chowk, did my recce. And people who would come, so the customers who would come, as much as I love saris and salwar kameez, but in those days, I started making Western clothing. And there were no takers for Western clothing.
Correct.
Even the corporate...
I think your brand was a little ahead of its time,
women,
right?
The bankers, the corporate heads, the airlines, the hotels, they were all in saris. The most gorgeous saris, but I did not make saris. So I made suits, business suits. So someone out of 100 would come and say, okay, this is my fabric, can you make it for me? Because I had no choices. I would say, okay, that's fine. Many people would walk in and say, can you tailor this, can you tailor that? So, that's where the journey began. And 30 years later, that man who I hired on the road is my main pattern master. He's still with me. Everybody I hired was younger than me. I was 21. They were all 19, 20. Everybody's first jobs. They're still with me. They are family. They are now heading various verticals. So corporate is headed by one person. The design vertical is headed by another. The access, the export is. So yeah, they are family. And when I look back, I don't know what it was except the fact that I loved what I did. So I could wake up every morning, and no matter what it was, I had to be there, and I had to get, it was just like, it would just drive me and just give me so much happiness to just be there and be creating. And I think it was over the next few years I actually fell so much deeply in love with what I do. I couldn't have said this when I was at fashion school. I couldn't have said this before. Even when I started, I didn't think I would. But I absolutely love Indian textile, and that's what my project at college was, the final project. So yeah, not short, but that was a long way.
Yeah, I
long
agree.
answer to
Well,
your
on a lighter note, I can say that architecture's loss was fashion industry's gain. And I'm so glad that you followed your passion and you did what you wanted to. But I think from your journey, what I'm picking up is that you had the courage to go back to your parents, and they were supporting enough to say, I don't want to follow the conventional path. You're still admitting that BCom doesn't work. It still doesn't. I promise you, it still doesn't. But then coming back to design, when you sat on that industrial machine, or when you went to San Francisco and you navigated the challenges and you dealt with that faculty who said, maybe you won't succeed. How was failure like at that point in time? Because I'm sure you did fail a couple of times.
Every day. It was brutal. And, today we're in 2023, and maybe the landscape in the US is a bit different, but back in those days, I was the only Indian in that institute.
Yeah.
It was a small program. There were only about 40 people who got into that program. I think about 20 odd graduated. The rest just couldn't cope with the stress. But one, I was Indian. Two, I was a woman.
A woman.
So, and even though my counselor, the academic counselor who actually helped, the placement counselor in college, was a woman, but she wouldn't get me a job. She wouldn't get me because she couldn't see the fact that there was an Indian who was maybe a little bit smarter than some of the American kids, and I was willing to do anything. I said, I'll work for free. She would not get me placed. For 3 years, she would not. So eventually I went work wherever. I did free work, because at that time you weren't allowed legally to work or to get paid. You could work, but you couldn't get paid as foreigners. Things have changed over the years. You get your OPT, you can get internships in the US. You couldn't do any of that. And funnily, coming from a woman, it was even harder to accept. I think it was a man's world. Yes, I understand. Another thing I want to point out, in the fashion business, it's a very male-dominated industry. I mean, like banking
Even today?
Worldwide. Think about it. The top 10 names that come to your mind worldwide.
all men,
I mean, what is it? Armani, Ralph Lauren, Valentino, the works, Dolce & Gabbana. How many women? Or in India, Tarun Tailiani, Gaurav Gupta, Rohit Bal, where are the women here? It is a hugely male-dominated industry. And you are not, and it's just that much harder for a woman to even stay in the industry. Forget about come close to being equal because they are threatened. At the end of the day, I believe a woman understands a woman's body better than a man does. It's as simple as that. How can a man understand a woman's body better or design better for you? He cannot. I mean, maybe he can design for men better. Yes, I totally agree with that.
But that's the irony. There are men designers designing for women,
all over the
and
world.
there are no men designers designing for men or women designers. Yeah, but these are some of the ironies of the industry. But Payal, one of the things that stands out for me in your journey is that all the time Take the Lead is not about blazing guns. It's also about being humble and doing those toilets and being observant and, following a path that comes out of the self-observation. You picked up French, you picked up Spanish. So sometimes when you're sitting at the level that you are today, which is all successful and accomplished, it feels easy to say brand Payal Jain. But the brand didn't come overnight. A lot of people joined the journey. So what would you say to the young entrepreneurs, a lot of them today in this community, when they want to create a brand? What is really creating a brand about?
So I don't think I ever had that in my mind, that it was about creating a brand. I just kind of just stuck to what I loved and stuck to it, stuck to who I was also. So especially in the fashion business, there's a lot about trends and this and what's next and the Bollywood, and because an ex-Bollywood is wearing it, so I should be doing the same thing. And I mentor a lot of young design students, and I say, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to make lehengas, saris, I want to dress so and so, and I want to get rich overnight. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You are not going. Your ideal and your ambition cannot be to be on page 3 and to dress so and so. It can't be. So first you have to be honest to your craft or to your journey, whatever that is. So I all of these women are doing something and they've already taken that first step. They've already found their passion. Now along that road, you will find 10,000 options. But say for lack of better words, like I said, I started with Western clothing. I stuck to Western clothing. Of course, I do some Indian, I do saris, but I work with Indian textile, and that's something I stuck with. That's who I am. So even if the whole world was buying Chinese and Korean and Japanese and the Zaras and the H&Ms, that's not who I am. That's never going to be me. So I am who I am, and I'm going to stick, and that's what my brand is going to be. So it will be sustainable, it will be natural, it will be woven in India, it will be made in India. So I've been doing made in India for 30 years. Yeah. Today people are talking sustainable in fashion. Today I don't use synthetic fabrics. I never have. Yeah. So I think you have to, and if your product is say food or it is cosmetics or whatever it is, just be, I think, true to who you are and what this product is. Don't get clouded by the Instagrams and the videos and the today marketing, tomorrow. All that is going to come and go. Instagram wasn't even there 10 years ago. It was all about journalists and editors. We've all learned Instagram, and there will come a time it'll become irrelevant. I can promise you that. It's already about jumping up and down in videos, and it has no depth any longer. So, but don't forget who you are and what your brand stands for and why you got into this. Just because there's a lot of noise around you. So I think that is one thing I will definitely say. That noise will always remain.
Yeah, I think, and I agree with you, Payal, that making a brand is about creating your craft in a fashion that aligns with your own value systems, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You've got to be first true to yourself before you are honest with your client, isn't it? There's lots that we can talk with Payal because her journey is all of more 25 years and beyond. The staff that she has is 30 years older. So I could go on and on, but I think it's time to take it to the next level. Thank you so much for the insights, Payal. It's been exciting speaking to you. So let me quickly step on to the panel discussion now. And to do that, let me begin by saying, Naaz hai mujhe, and I say this for all of them, all my esteemed panel members. Naaz hai mujhe, khud par guman hai. Naaz hai mujhe, khud par guman hai. Nahi zameen, mere पैरों तले आसमान है. The couplet signifies the confidence and energy in every woman who decides to take the lead and write her own destiny. It is our privilege to welcome 3 more, in addition to Payal, such dynamic women to our panel discussion today. Join in with your applause as I welcome Ms. Rachana Chowdhary as the first member of our panel today. Let me introduce Rachana. Rachana is the founder and CEO of Media Value Works, a global PR and communications agency, and consulting editor at India Digital Services, leading web portals, social media channels, and blogs. She currently devises 360-degree strategic marketing programs for enterprises and MSMEs to help promote them across key markets. With multiple awards like PR Women of Excellence, PR Mentor of the Year 2020, Women of Excellence 2021-22, she has been featured amongst the top 100 most important people by reputation today. Women Who Win welcomes Rachana to our panel today. My second panelist is an equally accomplished young woman who decided to create her own path in the radio industry. Please welcome Ms. Barsha Chabaria. Barsha Chabaria is the station head of Salam Namaste Community Radio, Noida. And yes, I will definitely ask her what a community radio does. She has previously worked at 92.7 Big FM as content and communication head and also Reliance Broadcast Networks Limited. Barsha is a mentor of change at Niti Aayog of India and state president of Uttar Pradesh CSR Council, WICCI. She is a brand and promotion strategist and does a podcast by the name and style of Varsha Ki Baat. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Barsha Chabaria. My third panelist is a young entrepreneur, model, and actor who has been creating a buzz in the fashion and entertainment industry and is also impactful in the social space. Women Who Win is proud to welcome Ms. Richa Mehta. Richa Mehta has worked in various TV commercials and digital advertisements. She is the director of luxury.PR and has received a lot of awards nationally and internationally. She currently represents Ram Ratan Group as brand ambassador. Her social initiative, An Ear to Hear, which works for women's mental health, has impacted positively the lives of 5,000 women. Now, with such an esteemed panel, I better get down to business. But Rachana, I leave it to you to tell us if you remember anybody supporting you. Payal told us that her parents did.
Abha, I think I can. Hi, am I audible?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, okay. Lovely, thank you. People supporting me is something that remains behind in your mind, but people not supporting you, I don't think there's an iota of thing in my mind to even recollect who they were. So they were there, but they've gone, we've passed them over, and I think that should be the way to look at it. Let's only look at people who are supporting us and celebrate them, and let's go out of why to even think about it. So I can't recollect anybody.
Correct. And I was very inspired by the same answer that she gave me when I was researching her profile. What's the point of spending and giving 1 minute of our mental well-being to the person who did not make us happy? So Rachana, despite the negativity of the people, you still did a lot of things in your journey which were not easy, right? And not at a time when you started out. So there were challenges that you took, and there was leadership traits that you displayed, and there was that motivation that you found within yourself to succeed. Can you tell us a little bit about that beautiful journey that you had as a professional?
Okay, so it's been, after having heard Payal, I have little to say. So having spent about 23 years now in the sector, this is when we started way back when Payal mentioned no internet days and no mobile phones, etc. The print media days, it's when I started with the Times of India at the Bombay office. And that was the only medium then. Times of India, Economic Times, Navbharat Times, Maharashtra Times, those were the newspapers. And we only had TV channels, and I think radio were also few, even TV was only a few, DD, etc. So we all go back to that era where we have seen internet happening in front of us, and how digital gradually changed us and changed our lives and disrupted many traditional businesses who probably didn't change with time, probably today are nowhere. So many of my colleagues and many people in our business who didn't probably move into the new era of digital and continue to be with print.
I want to go back to Richa now. Richa, and I've read about your journey. You started at a time, you were very fresh on the heels when the pandemic struck, right? And as an entrepreneur and a freelancer, both the journeys are difficult when you do not know when your next money check is going to come from, right? How did you deal with those uncertainties during the times of the pandemic and otherwise? Because being a model or being an actor is again a profession which is very demanding and nothing comes easy there. So tell us something about your leadership and your initiatives at that time.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here, and I would thank Mudra for that. I'll take you a step before. I am, like she said, I'm a Delhi University BCom honors topper all 3 years. Then I did my MBA in finance. I got placed in one of the leading MNCs, Ernst & Young. But the year I got promoted, I resigned. My family was like, what are you doing? Are you sure? Because you wanted Ernst & Young to be, it was my dream company since graduation. And I think most of us. I resigned because for me, if I would not have taken the risk that time, मेरे अंदर ये बात थी शायद मैं फिर कभी ना कर पाऊँ. So in 2018, I stepped into the shoes of fashion. खुद सीखा. I really don't mind stating this fact that from doing digital marketing to going to the client to getting my first paycheck to driving all the way, I still drive. I still have, it's not that I cannot afford, but it's just that I want to do these things myself. To anything and everything possible. In 2018 when I started alone, I did it. Not because I had to prove somebody, but because I wanted to prove myself that I can do it. And just to state the fact, being a freelancer, though I was under an agency, but I think I'm better off being a freelancer because it says I'm a free bird. I can say yes to whosoever I want. I can travel as per my schedule. It's me. After all, if as a woman I don't keep myself first, then who will? हम हर कोई, even the housewives, I really respect all housewives because my mother is one. बच्चे खा ले, हमारे husband खा ले, सब कुछ करे तब हम करेंगे. I have a social initiative ear to hear only because Abha, when God has been very kind in terms of fulfilling my dreams, and I don't have that much experience. It's just been 4 years of being into the TV advertisement agency to being into the modeling assignments, being an entrepreneur. I wanted to give it back to the society. Again, it was not male fraternity, it was female fraternity. You're too young to have a social initiative. Why are you doing this? Do you think this is the right time? Don't you think that your career focus will change? I believed. जो अंदर से आवाज आ रही थी, मैंने उसको believe किया. And in 2021, 1st Jan, I started my initiative alone, where I thought of giving back to the society. And then there's no looking back. In terms of the leadership quality which you were stating, Abha, I feel दिल की जो आवाज है वो सुनो. शायद जो करने का मन है वो करके देखो, चीजें हमेशा ऐसे रहेगी. It's a roller coaster for all of us. I'm sure people having such, the age I come from, the digital era where I have followings of lakhs of followers on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn and so on. I don't think we should promote things which we are not okay with. If we are okay with, and when we believe in ourselves, then people will believe in us. And कहीं एक भी चीज किसी के लिए वो मोटिवेशनल फैक्टर बनती है. I try to do that. If you say that, there are a lot of people, I'm sure people who are here with me and respected, ma'am also, there are a lot of times when people say that, अरे ये तो बात नहीं करेगी, इसमें attitude है. अरे she has got a national award, इसमें तो बहुत attitude है. Problem is not attitude. Problem is the standards. We are trying to fix a place for women where woman stands for another woman. If that is attitude, I'm okay to be with the one who has it.
I think we should own our attitude, and I kind of applaud Richa for saying that so loudly. Barsha, your comment, because when I was looking at your journey, I can see that you were a commercial success even when you weren't trying to be successful commercially. And then you took a U-turn and you came back to what we call community radio. Firstly, I would like you to, in a few sentences, tell the audience what community radio is, what it endeavors to do, and then can you tell me, did the definition of success change for you over the years, or did your priorities change? Because you did take the lead, and a very different lead. It was a leap of faith from commercial radio to community radio. How did that happen?
Thank you so much for having me here, and I'm feeling, literally like a lot of great people doing great work in their lives, and I'm one amongst them to share my story. But then हम जब रेडियो पर बोलते हैं तो हम औरों की कहानियाँ सुनाते हैं. आज हम रेडियो पर अपनी कहानी सुना रहे हैं, तो ऐसा ही कुछ है, right? So it is a different experience. Yes, coming to your question first, radio is in different formats today, where we listen All India Radio, we listen to commercial FM, Red FM, Fever, Mirchi. We also listen to community radios. Now, community radios are often, misunderstood with commercial radios. I would like to strike here a difference and make people understand how community radios are different from commercial radios. When we say commercial radios, these radio formats are more towards entertainment, giving you the buzz of the city, giving you what is trending, giving you information from films and serials, from television to across the world, everything. Community radio would be little hardcore life, okay? Community radio would be more of infotainment. It will talk about common people. A commercial radio might talk about Salmans and Shahrukhs, but a community radio will talk about Salmans and Shahrukhs, anybody amongst you. So you could be the Salman and you could be the Shahrukh.
I prefer to be Deepika.
Yes, no, you're more of Katrina then.
Thank you.
So we talk about common people. Community radio is basically defined as voice of the voiceless. So whom you generally do not hear on the mic, a community radio gives space to such people. Of course, when we say community radio, so when the government of India gives you a license, the range is different. A commercial radio will have a range for an entire city on a larger spectrum. A community radio will have a range of a community, because the government of India started this concept to cater into areas, talk about the issues and good things about that community. That's how the better aspects of the community comes into place. That's how the talent from that place comes to a wider arena. Community radio has a different eye, for information and programs. We will talk about. We have a program called Salam Shakti, which won us the second national award from Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. This talks about all females like you, everybody. So, giving a little background story. My name is Barsha, B-A-R-S-H-A, but my real name is Barsha Chabaria. So, I am a Sindhi. My mother tongue is Sindhi, but I was born and brought up in Kolkata. So, in Kolkata, because of that linguistic accent, V नहीं होता है, ब होता है. In fact, मेरे स्कूल का नाम भी विद्या भारती ही था. तो मैंने अपनी लाइफ में जो भाषा सबसे ज़्यादा बोली है वो है बंगाली. घर पे सिंधी बोली, हिंदी अंग्रेजी स्कूल में सीखी, संस्कृत भी की, ठीक है. अब क्योंकि मदर टंग सिंधी है तो पंजाबी के बड़े करीब है. My journey in radio started in Kolkata from All India Radio. At that time it was Calcutta. वहाँ भी मेरी शुरुआत इसीलिए हुई क्योंकि मुझे हिंदी, अंग्रेजी और बंगाली स्पेशली आती थी, the local language. Suddenly I got this opportunity to come to Mumbai. I was working with Bollywood Hangama, doing lot of voiceovers and advertisements. बंगाली में बहुत सारे ऐड किए हैं, मिथुन चक्रवर्ती की बड़ी सारी मूवीज़ डब्ड की हैं और इसकी हीरोइन की आवाज़ें बड़ी सारी निकाली हैं. And that was one era when privatization was happening. And this was 92.7 Big FM, Reliance's biggest network, 52 commercial radio stations across the country. I started like the producer of a radio station, and gradually when I became the executive producer, the programming head, then I started handling 4 cities. Lastly, when I had left Big FM, I was the content and communication head, and I was handling Indore, Bhopal, Gwalior, Jhansi.
So Payal, Richa just said that I love India, and all of us do. And in your case, you're choosing Indian fabrics and Indian textiles for your sustainability initiative. How do you marry your diversified global presence, the Indian fabric, and love for India and international business?
Well, I think that's what makes my language unique, because it is rooted in India. I'm a very, very proud Indian. I believe that Indian textiles and Indian craft and Indian heritage beats any other country in the world. I mean, the whole world comes to India for inspiration. Why would I go anywhere else for inspiration? No, I think that's what the Western world comes to me for. It's very simple. I don't think they're looking for what they do already. If I'm doing what the West does, how am I different? Why would they come to me? I mean, so if you have to be, I mean, I am a very proud Indian, and that's something I'm very passionate about, Indian textile. And I truly believe India has so much to offer. I mean, I've maybe worked with 10 or 12 states as of now, because I developed my fabrics from scratch. But I can spend my whole life still, and there'll still be another cluster that I wouldn't have worked with in India. So I think that is my heritage, that's my legacy, and I'm very proud of that.
So that is another leadership lesson that I take from these 4 women, that you've got to be proud of what you do and where you belong. I think Payal's life has been an example of that. She did mention that in San Francisco she was the only Indian woman. And Richa said the same thing, I can do things internationally, but I choose to stay in India. Barsha said the same thing, that the real सुनने वाला या श्रोता जो है मेरा वो communities में बसता है, मेरे देश में बसता है. Likewise for Rachana, she has an international presence, but she also has a free portal, right, which is where people can advertise and put their own listings to reach. Ultimately, leadership is about being proud of where you are and who you are. On that note, I'm going to say thanks to my lovely panel today. They were very enriching. We had an engaging discussion. Thank you, Rachana. Thank you, Payal. Thank you, Barsha. And thank you, Richa. I had a lot of fun talking to these women, and I hope you did too. Thank you so much. A big round of applause for all my panel members, please.